Hi, welcome to Satsang. Welcome to anyone who here in the room or online. How lucky are we to be here tonight? Having massive expectations of the new year. I know I am. Like I said, welcome to everyone. In the room, we ask everyone to stick to the Satsang guidelines. All phones on silent, please, not on vibrate. And no eating throughout the session. You're welcome to have your drinks. And then we ask if everyone stays in the room. There's tea and coffee available, 80p, and the profits from that go to the facility we're in. And we've had a lovely thank you card for the donation to the Christmas party, so that was nice. Toilets, for those who don't know, just outside or around the corner. We have the shop, which is consists of Helen's books. All the books are available and other items. If you see me or Ian about that. For those online, remember that the chat is open to anyone. Please don't give your personal details. Any questions that you have to be asked in Satsang, can you email evolutionofspirit@gmail.com by 5:30 of the day of Satsang. If you have any buffering, just press pause and restart it and it should be okay. Everything's fine this end now. We've resolved all the issues we had. Helen will give a talk as usual, followed by questions which are one-to-one with no interruptions, and just let her know you've got a question when she finishes with each question. Few announcements now. The Dissolving the Ego course starts next week. We do have a space to attend in person. We can take on as many online. If you have any questions about it here, see me tonight or send emails. All the information is on the website. The Sangha support group starts again on Monday the 6th. Karen's going to be running that, and if you have any questions about that, again, ask me. Karen's not able to be here tonight. The retreat is filling fast. We do have spaces. That is in March, towards the end of March. The next Satsang Intensive is on the 16th of Feb. And the next lunchtime Satsang is on the 31st of this month. That's in the date lunchtime, funnily enough. All information is on helenhamilton.org. You can, if you want to, I'm asked often about this, you can leave donations in the bowl at the door or it's available online. Have a wonderful Satsang.
Namaste. Welcome to Satsang. I hope you're all sufficiently full of Christmas pudding, other stuff. It's quite funny, isn't it? We're here to talk about the timelessness, and all I can hear is the clock ticking in the back. Time, or maybe it's just funny to me. So satsang is I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. It's gone. Satsang is for discovering what we really are, for finding out the truth. And not only for discovering, but for living as that, to really become the full embodiment of that truth, to leave no stone unturned, in our entire existence, where we're not living from that place of peace and joy. And if you're anything like I was to start off with, my life wasn't peace and joy at all. Quite the opposite. Chaos and fear were the two. I could describe my life in 2 words, it would be, well, that's 3 into chaos and fear. So it's really important to me to do what I can to help anyone else discover that peace. And I think more importantly, to live as that, to embody that fully, to say goodbye to negative emotions, to say goodbye to suffering, and really to move into a place of abundance in life, in its expression, in all its forms, all its appearances, abundance of well-being, abundance of peace, abundance of energy, abundance of abundance, sounds good. And to do that, we really have to first discover what we are, to come to a seeing of that. And then to choose that again and again, to choose it over and over in those moments where it would be easier to choose fear, or to choose guilt or shame or suffering, in whichever way it comes in our life. And the easiest way to choose peace every time is to understand just how important it really is, how profound it is, how much it's going to impact your life and everyone else's around you. So the most important thing about waking up to what you actually truly are and living as that is to find out what the most important thing is. It might sound like a strange thing to say, but for me, I spent a long time trying to get rid of what I'd seen I wasn't, trying to get rid of my old self, trying to be a better person, trying to iron out those, those wobbly bits in my personality that just seem to spring back up even more once you flatten them down. So it's most important to know what the most important thing is. What is the most important thing in this journey, this seeing, this coming to understand? What is most important? First is to see, to have a seeing, whichever way you come to that. And some people stumble across, just get given a glimpse of what they are, just a flash or an insight or an epiphany. I was always kind of jealous of those folks, that just have some massive seeing. And it wasn't like that for me. I had to do the real donkey work, to really do self-inquiry. And whether we've used some substance to help us have a seeing, or whether we're just so down and exhausted of suffering from our old sense of self that it gives way for a moment and the truth pushes through, or whether we've earnestly sat with a question for a long time, what really am I? Or even a short time, and actually come to an understanding, had a glimpse. That's the first most important thing, isn't it? Find out what you are. Sounds like obvious. And then after you've seen that, the next most important thing isn't so obvious. And I got this one wrong for years. The next most important thing is to keep seeing it again. most of us, even after we've had this revelation, will go back again and again and again to thinking about truth, thinking about what we are, thinking from our old mindset, thinking how we can use what we've seen, thinking how we can enhance our life with it. But the truth isn't doing any of that, is it? It's just here. And because it's just here, because it's not going to shout for your attention, you know, it's not going to like, this is what you really are, pay attention. You have to choose it again and again. You have to choose it constantly until it becomes a habit. So it's not enough to see it, it's vital to keep noticing, to keep looking, to stay interested, even when it's revealed itself, and to never assume that you've seen it fully. You know, to always leave that openness for more to be revealed. It took me a long time to figure this out, so hopefully I can save you a little time. When truth reveals itself, when you have a seeing, whether you've come to that through some accidental moment or through some deep meditation, or you're just staring at a cloud one day and suddenly you realize you're everything and everywhere, which does happen. What are you going to do after that? You know, what are you going to do after that? Are you going to hold on to that up here? Or are you going to live from that here? Because as human beings, we're conditioned to completely ignore that which is there all the time. Completely. And I had a real lesson in this because I don't know if anybody else is a real light sleeper, but you know, all that needs to happen is the cat tiptoes along the carpet and I'm awake. You know, and somebody introduced me to this thing called a sleep sound. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it's this little machine that you plug in and it makes white noise. This continual sort of whooshing noise, like air rushing through something. And I remember thinking, that's just crazy, right? These little noises in the nighttime are waking me up. And I'm going to plug in this machine that makes a loud noise, and that's going to help me sleep. So I'll give it a go, you know, open to try anything. And amazingly, when this continuous noise was there, I didn't hear any of these other noises at all. In contrast, I slept like a baby. Well, actually, babies are awake every 2 hours. I shouldn't talk about that. Every 2 hours during the night, but slept right through. And when I woke up in the morning, the most amazing thing, it was a real glimpse into how we miss our true nature. This loud noise that had been going all night, I hadn't heard it at all. At all. And yet, before I put this machine on, the slightest little pin drop woke me up. How can you sleep through this heavy noise? It was amazing. And I realized it's because it's continuous, it's unchanging. And it blocks out all the changing. And I thought, wow, awakening is really like that. The more you notice what you really are, that's just constantly there, the less bothered you are by the changeful. And every morning when I wake up and switch this sleep sound off now, afterwards, the silence that you hear is stunningly loud. You know, like when you walk past somebody drilling in the road or a siren goes off next to you, you know, as you're walking, and suddenly when it's gone, it's like stunningly silent. So it became obvious how trained we are, how conditioned we are to pay attention to noises that come and go, to things that come and go. And not just in sleep, in our life. How many people, as a show of hands, walked in this room tonight and noticed the space in the room? So we're conditioned to look at these objects and to ignore that which is continuously there all the time in the background. Satsang is really kind of a school, not like a learning here school, but turning that around, learning to focus clearly on that which is always here. And most importantly, to learn the value of that. But the more you focus on that part of you that's always here, that just is, sense of beingness, the more the coming and goingness of your thoughts and your emotions and your experiences and the highs and lows of human life you'll be cushioned from those. So just to guard against this tendency to have a seeing of what you are, and then to assume that you've seen it. You've seen it once. But until you're living as that constantly, then it hasn't fully been seen. It hasn't completely gone as deep as it could. Over and over again, our attention is pulled back to things that are coming and going, thoughts, feelings, sensations, experiences, things going on in our outside world, things going on in our inside world. So you just have to plug in your sleep sound and turn it up a bit. Make it so obvious that that continuous sense of self that is there is always there, always reliable. How many times a day do you notice that sense of you that just is existing, that just is here? How long is it in between when you forget about it, when you're reminded of it somehow? Or does life have to give you a nudge still? You know, a bit of a kick. Oi, you forgot your silence again. You know. And a really useful point to orient your life is, am I focused on the most important thing? Or have I wandered off again, you know, as we tend to do as human beings? And if you're orienting your life from this place, what is the most important thing right now for me? Then you're never going to go astray, not for more than a few minutes. Every time you're offered some state of suffering, and there's a choice you seem to have to make in that moment between that and suffering. If your most important thing is to stay with the most important thing, then you'll choose peace each time. If you're clear what the most important thing is, which is to find that part of yourself that's eternal, that's not going to die, because it was never born. Training yourself, your attention to come back always to that which is ever present. How many times a day do you notice how your body feels, or what your mind is thinking, or what your emotions are telling you? Lots. How many times a day do you notice the space that your body's appearing in? Not so much for most of us. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you want peace, you have to turn that upside down, you know. This moment here, now, that all of this is appearing in, all of this, wherever you're listening to this, watching this. That's the only constant about you, isn't it? It goes with you wherever your body goes. This moment. Could the quietest and most innocuous thing about your experience be the most important? Could that be what's the most important? Because everything else is going to go at some point. Everything. Even your body. How important is the most permanent answer, the quietest answer, the one that's never going to shout for your attention, ever? How important is that when you're presented with a tasty buffet of guilt, shame, fear, getting angry at someone in traffic, or, in the supermarket right before Christmas, and somebody's got the last turkey, It's up to each one of us to foster inside ourselves this intensity, this fire, to remember the most important thing. And as you really feel that fire, life is going to help you do that. It's going to remind you in a good way. It'll remind you about the most important thing, whether you like it or not. If you're paying attention to what the most important thing is, and you love that most important thing, this nowness, this sense of here, this ineffable, intangible moment that all of this is appearing in, which never goes away, ever, then life is going to remind you of that in a positive way. And everything in the entire universe will help you. Everything. That's not an exaggeration. And this isn't a pass or fail thing. None of us can have your attention on the unchanging self 24 hours a day. It's not about 24 hours a day. It's about how much you love that here, what your real passion is, what you have to find out before you die, what you have to inside, that you just can't live with yourself if you don't find it, that kind of urgency. So do you even know what the most important thing is? That's a good place to start, isn't it? That's where I started from. Am I sure that I'm heading in the right direction? And am I actually? And I found out I wasn't. I didn't even realize at first it was something that was permanent to find. So that was step one. That was quite an epiphany in itself. And then step two was to continuously foster this interest, this willingness to see, and to see again and again and again and again, until I forgot how to not see that. It's not a hard thing to do. It's a very hard thing to do, to wake up. If you still love exploring in time and space and experiencing things. It's an incredibly easy thing to do if you love what's permanent and what's true and what's real. So find out what the most important thing is for you right now. Do yourself a favor and don't assume you know. I tried it out and it didn't really work out so well. And once you find what you're looking for, hold on to it. Not up here, but here, hold on to it. And fall in love with it. Find everything you can about it. Experience it again and again and again. Simplest thing really, isn't it? Just to keep noticing. There's something about me that's space-like and diffuse. Human beings are not very good at simple things, are they? We notice. We tend to wander off, make things complicated. You'll end up falling in love with the real you, you know, falling in love with what you really are and how that makes your body feel. Maybe you're feeling it now, just kind of chilled and relaxed, a little bit stoned, a little bit out to lunch, a little bit out of your mind, you know. Okay. Enough of my rumblings. If anyone would like to ask a question or to share an experience, feel free to stick your hand up. Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay.
Sounds serious.
Just some reflections, really. We've just gone through Christmas, which is a lovely time, but also can be challenging.
It could be one of the most difficult times, can't it, for a lot of people? Yeah.
I was thinking, I've been coming to Satsang now for a few months, and I felt as though, you know, I was finding my calm, things were improving, and I'm plateauing a bit. And then a couple of things have happened over Christmas, which made me think I'm just going back to square one. I'm going nowhere yet. You know, so just before Christmas, as part of the divorce, I mean, we were signing the deeds of my house over, and it was all kind of as agreed, but I was unprepared for how emotional that felt when it came to the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that surprised me, and it didn't particularly manifest anything, but I just fell into, you know, the mind running off and anger and things coming up, and you get drawn into this little drama, really. Mm-hmm. And I was just unconscious right in it for days. Really. Never thought about this, you know. Come to Satsang, what was that? I was in my little drama. And it also played out over Christmas, and it ended up with an argument with my 14-year-old daughter as well. It's all right now, but it was one of those scenarios where it was just unnecessary, and I would say as an adult, not my proudest moment as an adult and parent, really.
They do tend to test us, don't they?
Yeah, you just think, heck, I could have handled that slightly better. So I just, I felt, you know, I can come to Satsang, I can watch some videos on YouTube, I can meditate, and in those moments I feel, you know, peaceful and calm. But then I forgot it all when you're in the drama. So it was a bit, maybe you were talking about it, it's kind of how to keep, I don't know, are there any tips on how to keep it more present? Because I can compartmentalize my spiritual self and my journey.
Yeah.
And then back into real life, all the crap happens, and you don't. Sometimes the two don't marry. You know, that's over there,
and I'm in, look like very different.
And I'm in my drama, yeah, and I'm allowing myself to be in it, and you know, so yeah, really. Any help on that one, please?
It's really common, isn't it? You've probably heard it many times from many people that they feel a lot of peace, and then something will happen to seemingly disturb that peace. And it's really, it's probably the same answer to every question like this would be that nothing has gone wrong. That's the first most important thing to remember in those moments. It will feel like, you just said to yourself that you felt like you'd forgotten everything or going backwards or something like that. But it's actually a sign of your awakening, progressing, deepening. It's like, how on earth can she say that when it just looked like a disaster spiritually? But the taste of the peace that you've had, it's kind of addictive, isn't it? And then something inside wants more, then something inside wants that peace more often. The only way for that peace to go deeper is for you to recognize where you're still choosing some other state, some temporary state over that piece. And we all do it, you know, we all choose. We've all got those things that push buttons. And as you so rightly said, Christmas can be that kind of time. Well, even before Christmas, it sounds like. So if you can just look at this from a different light, that nothing has gone wrong here. This is the start of this piece deepening within your entire life. Like something inside has gone, you know, I really like this, I want this all the time. The only way we can choose peace in those moments is to have those moments come up. And then we cannot berate ourselves if we didn't manage to choose peace that first time, right? Or even the second time or the third time. If you can feel that something inside is becoming less and less tolerant of choosing that old way, something inside you is becoming less and less able to accept your old way of living, you know, the ups and downs and the highs and the lows and all of that that comes with being a separate being. And as you look inside deeper and confirm more clearly that not only that peace is there, but most importantly, to confirm that you are that. You're not someone experiencing that, you are that. Huge difference, huge. Because the first one, that you're someone experiencing peace, you will forget that. You're always defined by what you know in your crisis moment, in your lowest moment. If you're someone experiencing peace, you're going to lose it as soon as you get challenged. If you are that peace, or the source of peace, whatever you want to call it, you cannot lose it in those moments. It seems like it becomes its own subtle trap. I remember feeling so much peace and being so sure I could never lose it. And then something happened, teenage children, or, you know, well, lots of things to disturb that. It became clear to me in those moments that I was going back. I still really deep down somewhere believed I was that old self. And that was the only option available in that lowest moment. So to sit with a question, you know me, I'm always giving out questions. Am I in that peace, or am I that peace? It became really a vital question for me. And actually looking and not finding a separate me again and again and again. It seems crazy that to look and not find something would actually be a positive thing to do. But every time I looked for myself, all I found was that silence, that peace. And thoughts as well and everything. But I didn't find a someone over and over and over again. And as I did that more and more, it became clearer and clearer that that's what I've always been. What the benefit of that, the major side effect of that, is you cannot forget it then in those moments. You know, when some other choice is given to you, here's some shame, feel, you know, would you like to feel really bad? Or, you know, those sneaky little moments where you really just feel like a choice. Less and less will that choice be there, more and more will it be automatic. And it is simply a case of looking again and again and again, finding out, not just taking it for granted. I'm not saying that you are at all taking it for granted that there is peace, but really going a step further and confirming that you are that, because that shifts you energetically then. It's not just known here then. And peace is not an experience then, it's an actual byproduct, a constant byproduct of knowing what you are. So it's just a little call, a little nudge to say, okay, now you can go a little deeper into what you've seen. Does that help?
Yes, it does. I recognise what you're saying. Yeah, and I guess the positive for me is we're actually talking about it and recognised it. So that's a step in its own right.
Yeah.
Although,
we all come to.
Peace didn't feel like a choice at the time, but I was straight into emotions and feelings and dramas.
Don't judge yourself by what happens in those moments. You're a human being as well, and you're a human body as well, and all the ups and downs that come with that. Until and only when you're fully established as that deeper self you're going to have those moments where you're tempted, and you're not going to pass every one. That's, you know, not even the Buddha managed that until, you know, he completed his awakening. And if you cannot judge yourself for that and understand that is how it is for everyone, it was like that for me as well. Even when I'd not got rid of, but I'd managed to every time stay in that peace, there was still fear got me every time. And it was quite easy then to go into a thinking process about why am I still buying this? Why am I still buying this? You know, and if you can just go, well, because I am at the moment, that's, you know, all we can say about it, isn't it? It happened. Now what am I going to do after that? And, you know, there's only 7.5 billion other human beings going through the same experience as you, so it's fairly common in the human experience.
I'll stick with it.
Find, if you can put your attention on what you want to do, is move peace from being an experience, a state that you feel, into being what you are. Because if you're convinced that it is what you are, then it cannot go in those moments. Absolutely. And that will be a lived experience. There won't be a choice. When we're convinced it's a state, when I sit and I meditate, or when I'm in Satsang, when I'm self-inquiring, I feel a lot of peace. Then we're convinced it's an experience and it's still coming and going, peace. It might be staying longer and getting better when it is there, but it still can be lost. It can still go in those moments. Yeah.
Okay, more work to do.
Just the next little deepening. Nothing's gone wrong at all. This is how it was for my, you know, for myself. Every time I reached a point where I thought, I got it now, you know, well, I said, what about this? You know, just to help me deepen, because the same as I was, the love for peace is so intense that you're unable to accept losing it. So this is how this comes to be, you know, that if you know you are it, you can't lose it. Simply to ask the question, how can I know I am it? Or to do the self-inquiry and look. That's the only thing, again and again and again and again, until it's so obvious. The idea of losing it is just, or that you could choose another negative state. We never choose a negative state consciously. Nobody ever sits there going, right, I'd love to feel fearful right now. But it's a kind of an unconscious choice, isn't it, to go back to that state of suffering. Just have to flip that on its head. Don't have to know how. You just have to want. Well, first we're satisfied with just feeling it, and then it deepens. Now you want to be it. Can you feel that inside? Something's just done with the coming and goingness of it. You just want it to stay, to stabilize. And that's a really good thing that's happening. And the good news is you only have to do this once. You only have to convince yourself once, and it's finished. You know. Good stuff. Very good question. Would anyone else like to ask or to share? Everybody's had a quiet, peaceful Christmas then.
I'm not sure what I want to ask. That's what I'm trying to debate. Last conversation we had, you said, I think you said, whatever's coming, there's no do's or don'ts. So whatever's happening.
Shoulds or shouldn'ts.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah.
There's no shoulds or shouldn'ts.
But whatever's happening in my mind, yeah. To go with it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That means not. I'm going. If I'm right, not immediately saying I'm not having that. You go back to silence. just stay with it. Whatever is negative, it's fear, it's
Wherever your attention has gone, you let it.
let it.
Yeah.
I think I've just sat there listening to you, and as I'm listening to you, I think, oh, that's what you meant. You know, that's why I didn't get up. I didn't want to get up. But whatever's happening then, don't try and change it or try and get to a different frame of mind, but to just watch it consciously. Not necessarily get too involved in it.
You've gone?
No, that's it, I think. That involvement is what I think I'm confident about. Do I get into it? Do I go looking for the answers?
The conversation we had, which you were quite clear that you're not the body, quite clear that you're not the mind, and the only challenge you were having was with your attention. Your attention seemed to wander from looking at the mind to back to the silence, and then back out again into mind, and perhaps out to something going on in your body, or and it was just wandering back and forth all the time.
Right.
And you wanted it to stay on that silence.
I'd like it to stay.
Yeah. So we talked about just allowing that attention to wander wherever it's gone and just watch. Just to sit back metaphorically and watch. To make no attempt to bring your attention back even to the real self, to the silence, to the stillness. You with me so far?
Yeah, I'm with you. I find it difficult.
So what's been happening then?
I'll say one thing happened Sunday. The guy I've had some bother with over the last few months, and I've tried to make it right, and he's not having none of that. He turned up at where I was on Sunday. Just very uncomfortable. A lot of fear came back. And
The attention goes right to that fear.
that's right, yeah. And that guy. I got it so that he was sat and this woman's head was sat between me and so I couldn't even see it. Yeah. I saw it for me anyway. But going out, we seemed to follow me up the road, but it didn't. Just ignored it. My head going into the old what if, but the fear sort of came back. It's been sort of, when that happens to me these days, it's like, the day I thought, past this. I mean, it's really disappointing. But it's been lucky. It's upset me. It knocked me equilibrium off for a while. I'll get right again. But what do I do in that situation?
If you can just watch whatever happens without judging it.
Without judging.
So if your attention goes, something goes to that person, or maybe you just sat there and all you can notice is this barrage of thoughts about the situation, or suddenly the sense of emotion being felt by your body, and attention almost wants to just dive straight in there, doesn't it? Like
it just goes.
20 minutes later, you realised you haven't been listening for a single, it's just completely gone back in your head. If you can relax into that wherever your attention has gone is just gone. And don't be the police about it. Don't say where it should be or it shouldn't go.
I don't want that feeling. That's what I don't want that.
What you really don't want, if I can take it back a step, is not, if you notice when your attention is focused on thoughts, if you fully pay attention to the thoughts, you'll feel quite nice. Strange thing to say as a spiritual teacher, I know, and if you fully pay attention to any emotion that comes up, fully, you'll feel peaceful. If you fully pay attention to any state of silence or clarity that comes, you'll feel peaceful. The reason you don't feel peaceful is because you're shutting yourself inside. I shouldn't be looking at this. I want to be looking at that. that silence over there, a nice peace. But what that does is it forces you to split yourself in two, seemingly. Some of your attention's here and some of it's over there. I want to be over there, but I'm actually focused on my thoughts, and I don't want it to be that way.
So it's that focus 100%. I understand.
If you can just relax and say, well, my attention's gone to these thoughts, and in this moment, there's nothing I can do about that. Nothing at all. Or if somebody said something, got really, really angry inside, like, wow, this big fire of emotion, and all you can think about is that, and all you can feel is that, then be 100% absorbed in that. Like, make no attempt at all. Don't sound really spiritual, does it? But no attempt at all to dig yourself out of that. And you'll find it'll dissipate really, really quickly. Another definition of enlightenment is, it was Anthony de Mello's, I think, absolute cooperation with the inevitable, which sounds like really scary, doesn't it? But if whatever is happening, and you can't change it because it's happened, right?
Yeah.
To try and spend your energy wishing it wasn't so, what's already happened isn't so, is never ever going to work. You're never going to succeed at changing what's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is acceptance or cooperation with the inevitable is acceptance. It's just recognizing the simple fact that my attention has gone with this completely, or this has happened. I'm feeling really scared, or there's just millions of thoughts, and I'm totally distracted from what I was thinking, you know, this beautiful silence that was there 2 minutes before.
Yes, what's in the room.
It's absolute insanity to try to change what's already happened, isn't it?
I think not.
And yet,
I'm not trying to change what's already happened. I'm trying to change the way I feel.
What's already happened is your attention has gone with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything at all you can do to rewrite what just happened?
No.
Nothing, is there, at all? Acceptance of what is not the same as liking what is. You can fully accept in any moment what is. You might still like it to be different, but saying that it shouldn't be how it is right now, how it's already shown up as this emotion or all these thoughts or this person, it is really, I mean, human beings are all slightly insane, really, because we all spend all of our time trying to change what's already happened. All of it. And energy. Right? Anyone can reach that enlightened state in any second when you fully accept this is what has happened already. In that acceptance, you're much more likely to have it change in the next moment to something that pleases you better. Mind thinks that acceptance means agreeing to it and liking it, and then saying it's okay for that thing to stay, whether it's something in here or something out there. But acceptance is just facing reality. This is how I feel right now, or this is what I'm thinking about right now. This is where my attention has gone. I lost my silence. I lost my peace. End of story.
So this been telling people this for years. It's just my thought. I knew. Like you say, you never quite know everything, do you? You know it once, but you don't know it forever.
Yeah. So the last way that we do that on the pathway is to say, I should be able to keep my attention on that silence throughout my entire waking state. You know, I should be able to focus on my real self from the moment I open my eyes. You know, I'll be all spiritual, I am, you know, and then all the way through Tesco's, I am, and worse, you know. Yeah. Feel like you already. In reality, that's just not going to happen, is it?
I don't know.
If you can accept that that's not going to happen, it's much less likely to happen. And most importantly, if you can accept that you just absolutely lost the silence completely in that moment. That's just, when it's just happened.
Yeah, mate. I know what you said. I get what you're saying. Confused.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll get me Zen stick out in a minute. If it's gone, there is nothing you can do. If it seems to have gone, right? Nothing at all you can do. If your attention has gone, I mean, it hasn't gone, as you said, because you are it. But if your attention has gone back to thoughts or emotions, there's nothing you can do to undo that if it's already occurred. Nothing at all. The moment you accept that, you'll be back into that silence, that peace. Because you're not shoulding or shouldn'ting yourself in that moment. Of course, you'd like to go back to silence in the next moment. Of course, you'd like this strong emotion to go away in the next moment. But fighting against how it's already occurred, what's already manifested, it's bonkers, isn't it? We all do it. This thing that's just happened should not have happened. And I'm going to spend all of my energy fighting against what's just already happened. Because I've got this strange idea from somewhere that doing that is going to make it go away. That's where we're all operating from, isn't it, as human beings?
Simple work to do on this one, I think.
If you can come to clearly understand the difference between accepting what is and liking what is, they're not the same thing, are they? Quite often they're very different. We're all really good at accepting bliss, I'm all right with this. Yeah. If you're feeling fear, you're feeling fear. It doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. Can you completely not should yourself in that moment?
Like to try and see.
And then there will be peace again when you don't do that anymore, You can fully accept that something is present and yet not want it to be there. They're not contradictions. This thing that's here right now, I accept it's here. I'd like it to go, but I accept it's here now. It's quite an easy place to get to when you really understand that they're two different things. You don't have to like it, but you do have to accept it's what's happened. So if attention has wandered off from this silence, there's nothing you can do to correct that. At all. It's happened. It's gone. It's done. What you do about that, how you feel about that, will determine your next moment's experience then. Yeah. If you're up in your head going, why have I lost it again? Why can't I seem to, all of that? Then you're going to have the same experience the next moment.
So if I bring myself back to I am, for a minute or two.
Do nothing at all.
I'm saying that I'll still go back to that same period. That's what tends to happen. I get myself out of it for a few seconds, for a few minutes. And then as soon as I let go of the attention, I just flies back to it. The anxiety, the fear, whatever it is. I just have to accept that.
Yeah.
Not bother trying.
Yeah. That is what has happened. Right? Yeah. That's what's happened. Like you take a corner too fast, you clip the corner of your car on a wall. It's happened. There's nothing at all you can do to change it. As much as you wish it hadn't happened, it has. But so you've had this little spiritual hiccup. It's happened. There's nothing you can do to change it at all. Mine says, the more you resist what's already shown up, the quicker it'll go away.
I think you go resisting it. I go.
Shoulding and shouldn'ting are very subtle ways to resist.
Right.
Yeah. So if you can come to see that's, if there's not full acceptance in that moment, then you are shoulding or shouldn'ting somehow. Yeah. It's just a case of looking, this is how I'm feeling right now. Can't do anything about it. Don't like it, but this is how I'm feeling right now. or this is what's going on right now. And then if there's a full acceptance of that, it can change immediately and very quickly. And what it will naturally go back to is peace, if there's no trying to get away from what is right now in this moment.
But even if it doesn't go straight back to peace, it doesn't matter there, is it? So that's
if you're not resisting in that moment, you'll be feeling peaceful.
Oh.
If you're not creating a disturbance in a still lake, it's still. If you're not resisting, why isn't this? There's no stillness. You know, if you're not resisting, then you're going to immediately notice peace. So right, even in the worst emotions or whatever happens, the worst situation, resisting it is pointless because it's already happened. Already so, isn't it? There's nothing we can do. Once that's clear, there's nothing I can do to change what's already shown up. And how I treat what's already shown up is going to determine what happens next.
right.
You don't have to like it, but I have to accept that's how it is. It's like we're all walking around going, this it really isn't happening, you know. There's not, you know, metaphorically, but, you know, sometimes if we accept. And the last way we do that is I should be able to focus on my real self all the time.
Yeah.
And then look, I've lost it again, I've lost it. And then I shouldn't be losing it, which forces us to keep losing it in the next moment. So I lost it, big deal, it's gone. It'll be right back in the next moment. It's like the opposite to where your mind tells you. Your mind tells you the more you fight against this thing that's happened, the quicker it'll go away. And it's exactly the opposite way around. The more you just face reality and go, this is what's happened. Doesn't mean I'm a bad spiritual seeker. It doesn't mean I'm not in line. It doesn't mean anything. It just means my attention went to thoughts and away from silence.
And that's it.
That's all, yeah. And you can very quickly come to that place. Of course, you would like to feel more peaceful in that next moment. But even while that fear is still there or whatever's going on, you'll be back, you'll be peaceful, and there'll be fear. Because there's nothing at all about you that's shouldn't or shoulding in that moment. There's this idea crept into all of us that the aim of all this is to find that real self and focus on it throughout the entire waking state.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what I said to start off with, but it's not. That's like here, just to love it here, isn't it? Of course, if some strong emotion comes up, attention is going to go to that. That's what it does, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if and when that happens, you're unable to should or shouldn't yourself about that, guess what you're going to be feeling? If a strong emotion happened for me now, and all my attention went to how I was feeling instead of the real self, there'd be nothing inside me that could say that shouldn't have happened. I just cannot do that anymore. You know, through applying what I've just said. If it goes there, it goes there. That's what's supposed to have happened. Why? Because it did happen. If reality wants to show up as a strong negative emotion for you and seemingly losing that silence, that's exactly how it was supposed to be in that moment.
Yeah.
The more we accept that, the better you'll feel in the next moment, and the more easier it will be to accept what is in the next moment.
Think about it. Still not crystal, but I'll get on.
Just get clearer on the difference between accepting something and liking it. They're two very different things.
So it's something I've said for years, but it's a bit subtler, is it? I think I know
Mainly about what you think you're doing wrong spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
different concept.
Yeah, that's the only little thing here. When attention goes, found the real self, I've confirmed and confirmed I am that, I am that. Every now and again something pushes a button to just you know, that last little bit of something getting triggered. That shouldn't be happening. See, right there.
Yeah, just said it,
yeah, right there.
Shouldn't be happening.
It did. It happened. Now what? Now what? The self is never ever going to say, failed there, shouldn't have done that. That shouldn't be happening anymore. It is exactly what happened in that moment, is the way the self looks at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that little switch over now, isn't it? Yes, you prefer it didn't happen, of course. Of course, you'd rather feel peaceful than fearful. But it happened. End of story.
End of story.
You know what's going to happen next now, don't you?
No, no idea.
You're going to get an opportunity to practice.
Yeah. Okay.
Good stuff. Good show. Would anybody else like to share or ask? Yep.
Well, so over Christmas or before Christmas, you can. It's more of a share really on the question. Haven't listened to two brief. So you left me the question because I've been doing a lot of do-it-yourself stuff.
Am I the doer? DIY guy.
Yeah. Am I actually doing anything? It was kind of a question you left me to contemplate. And so over Christmas, I was kind of doing it a lot on and off, in amongst being with friends and family. And it was, on the whole, it was pretty good. I didn't feel I was picking anything up. And,
you mean like thoughts and things?
yeah, it was all kind of very pleasant, actually. And then this morning, it's always an and then, isn't it? And then January the 2nd today, felt like Christmas is over, back to doing things, so to speak. So I had a few things I wanted to do today. And I started to have that feeling that I needed to do something. I had a little timetable worked out of what I wanted to get done.
All the things you need to do.
All the things I need to do. Exactly. And of course, it never quite goes to plan, does it?
We noticed that.
Well, things don't quite wrong. But at one point, so I was starting to feel that this a very familiar feeling I've had all back when I had a proper job. Back in where you get a little bit anxious, a little knot in your stomach. And, I used to get a lot of pain. And so I sat there feeling this kind of coming on, and I just kind of realised that I picked up this idea that I was doing something again.
Did you pick it up quicker?
Yeah, I was quite.
I mean, did you see quicker that you picked it up?
Yeah, and I got quite excited. It's funny to get excited about it, isn't it? Like, wow, I've kind of.
There's nothing wrong with being excited. Like you've saved yourself 6 hours of anxiety or something, right? That's a good thing to be excited about.
I was kind of like,
oh God.
Yeah, this is one of those moments that Helen talks about. Where I'm kind of like, yeah, I've spotted it.
Right in the middle of your to-do list.
Right in the middle of my to-do list, which wasn't working out very well. And I kind of spotted it.
Excellent.
And I kind of asked the question again, am I really doing anything? And because it usually takes me back, or takes me to that feeling that I'm not actually doing anything at all. I'm just kind of watching, observing, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was able to just, for want of a better word, check in with that kind of feeling or vibe, whatever you describe it. And everything just kind of
settled down, my stomach pain kind of went, and the anxiety kind of went.
And you got a whole lot of things on that list.
All of them are in different order.
We did them in the different.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to share that because it's kind of quite. Because in the past I haven't been able to do that so quickly, and I would go into like quite a bit of suffering. I would berate myself for like the falling off the kind of, you know, spiritual wagon again, or whatever, you know. So it's just quite nice to be able to spot it and prevent all that. And then
each time you pull yourself back from that brink, you're much more. You haven't gone down as far. You're much more able to catch it even quicker next time. Not that that's the goal, but it just begins to happen that way, doesn't it? And then you sort of clearer and clearer and more able to stay in that peace. If it's happened, it's happened. You can just softly put that intention out. I'd like to see it quicker next time. But if I don't, it's completely okay. Like, none of us are sort of superheroes straight away, are we, with this stuff? We've got to learn that we really, really don't like suffering. You know, something keeps going back just to check. Do I still not like it? You know, it's really good. And the great thing is, your body is telling you, isn't it? You can notice immediately. You said your stomach begins to hurt quite a lot.
It's almost like an early warning system, basically.
Well, I must be doing something. I must be thinking. That's good. It'll not let you forget. I'm not saying you'd want it that way, but it's good if it's there. You can use it, can't you?
It seems to be that's the way it's going to be, so I might as well kind of use it.
And the clearer you've seen, and then living from that place where you're not doing anything, where it's all just happening inside you, the moment that thought sort of creeps back in there, very subtly, it creeps in the back door. There's a lot of things you need to do and you don't have much time today.
Yeah, exactly.
And then job number 3 takes twice as long as it should have. And I'm not going to get all these things done today. So it's kind of subtly creeps back in there. Of course, it's going to upset your system because it's so unpalatable now, isn't it? That you've got all this stuff to do. You can just watch your body get it all done. Or if some of it gets done, great. If none of it gets done, great. If all of it gets done, great. But there's no should or shouldn't about it, is there? If you're not the doer of those things, then it doesn't really make any difference to you whether it all gets done or nothing gets done. Because it's not your list, is it? It's, you know, for your body to. Your body will be much more able to just stay in that flow and, you know, get almost everything done from that place. If you drop out of it, so what? It happened. You know, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. It happened. All right, let me go back to my question. And you should be finding less and less you can forget that question, less and less you can forget that knowing.
It's what's going on? Maybe ask, because I've done that bit when you talked about earlier about trying to stay there 24/7.
We all do it, right? I am the self. I am the self. I am the self. I am the self.
And I really went for it for a
Damn
while.
it, I lost it.
And I kind of like detached myself from
Everything.
Everything,
we all do it.
Kids couldn't be talking to me. I wasn't hearing them.
Don't talk to me. I'm concentrating.
I know I've done that kind of thing in the past over Christmas as well. I've been wanting to stay spiritual over Christmas. I've been invaded by the family.
Is that impossible?
I know. What I found this Christmas was that I could actually. I felt like I was really engaged with my family, probably for the first time for quite a long time. Probably.
Wonderful.
And I was still doing the kind of, when the moments arose, I could still do the self-inquiry, but at the kind of right time and not kind of,
in the middle of when I'm playing a game and I'm totally like sat there.
I'm just going to the loo and you sat there like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I remember the first time I actually enjoyed Christmas again.
Yeah.
And it's not just about Christmas, is it? But I remember the first time, because, you know, I can look back at my photos from years and years ago, and there's family photos of us all on the beach, you know, in coats, like, because it's freezing. I think I've said this before. The kids are like sandcastles and everyone's throwing stuff at each other, and I'm sat there with I am that, you know, in this book, and I'm just, you know, like, and I had probably 2 more in my handbag. You know? And everything seemed, and it has to be that way a little bit at first. We have to go a little bit, you know. But the first time afterwards, where I couldn't even say it was wrong, that I hadn't spent the entire time self-inquiring, where I'd forgotten about it all for a few days and had a real nice time. And I realized that I wasn't suffering either by doing that. I was really having a lot of fun. It was wonderful. And there was nothing inside, like I was saying earlier, that could say that's not, you know, you've done something wrong there. You've forgotten everything for the last 3 days. Then there's that wonderful just being able to be exactly where you are in your life, isn't there? And that starts to happen.
I was kind of wondering why it's changed, if you know what I mean. Because there was a time when I was just hammering away and getting nowhere almost. Or getting
It's
more,
like,
you know.
it was, for me, it was like, if you've been on the train through the Morley Tunnel, it's like really, really long and dark, strangely enough, because it's a tunnel. But I remember the first time I went through it, I thought, wow, this is just going on forever. And then finally you come out the other side and you might have even forgotten it's daylight outside because it's just been dark for, it's not really that long, but anyway, 1.5 miles or something. And I thought, because self-inquiries like that, it's when you finally got into that tunnel and you're just going for it, you really make a decision to see and to be what you are. You're so focused on that necessarily, you know, then, but eventually you come out the other side of that, or you start to come out the other side of that, and you start to be able to enjoy the fruits of that, which is just being completely unable to be unauthentic. So if you're a guy having a wonderful family Christmas, you're doing that. If you're gone off the deep end and feeling really upset, you're completely doing that. And everything else in between. There's nothing that you should or shouldn't be doing. You're doing whatever you're doing in that moment completely. And it's wonderfully freeing. I remember next time afterwards I had this temper tantrum and I really enjoyed it. You know, I got really upset about something and I really enjoyed it, because every time it happened before that, there was this idea I shouldn't be feeling that way. You know, that's not spiritual. Certainly not enlightened behavior, you know. Failed. You're starting to enjoy the benefits of the work you've been doing. More and more of your life will be like, there'll be periods where something comes up and you have to go back into that intense inquiry for a little while. And then you'll know when you've done enough then, because you'll be just enjoying yourself again, enjoying life.
I felt like I go really quite deep with it quite quickly. And then get on with like Christmas a bit. And I was doing like maybe like 6 or 7 times a day I was doing it, but it still, I don't think I was that absent father dad's off on one again kind of thing. I don't think that was around some stuff. It was not nice really.
And just to be authentically where you are, to be whoever you are in that moment, whether it looks good, bad, or downright ugly, you know, it's so rare in the human experience, isn't it? I shouldn't be feeling this way, looking this way, thinking this way, you know, acting this way. And never do we do that more so than when we're on a spiritual pathway. I should be more enlightened by now. I obviously haven't read enough books on the beach. You know.
So I just thought
it's really good. Well done.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Anyone else like to ask? He looks really stoned.
Oh.
Oops. You have to do cartwheels.
I've had the same Christmas. It was good. And we had a terrible Christmas last year. I mean, pretty dark place and everything. And I'm really kind of, in a positive way, what's this year going to bring? Because it's just getting better and better on the whole. But I say the last few days, but it isn't really. It's probably only about 24 hours. It's the second today. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had kind of what I'd call a blip where I started feeling a bit blur, for the technical term, and I don't feel it so much. It is a physical thing, but it's not like feeling ill or just feel not right. I can't tell you how it feels. And then I started to feel I was reacting to things. Got quite upset about something that would normally not have got to me, and the things that happened yesterday, I've like recognised all these areas in my life where I've been just little things have been happening that I hadn't seen. So things were feeling slightly negative in all these little areas, but there wasn't a great impact on me. It's so subtle. And there's also if I go on down a thought pattern or whatever, or thought route, I can kind of look at it spiritually and know that I'm just watching that, and that it can't touch me. And I feel that I've got caught up a bit in that, and that it has to really be, not that I ignore it, because I recognise that it's happening, and then I'm okay with it. That's just how it is. I'm okay. And then it's like, are you really? No. And not to bring it down, because that was quite positive. And it is okay, but it's just been so subtle before I actually realise there's an issue. And then it's only when I had a few tears yesterday, I should know about, and I was really shocked at my reaction to something that wouldn't normally have bothered me at all. And but what I'm trying to ask is, why is it so? I know that I'm not suffering. I know that I am the peace. At the same time, there's something saying, do you really? And there's something it's not quite there.
So what's the question?
Oh God. That's the word that bit out yourself.
I've been trying to dig it out. But
I think it's just, why is it so subtle? Why? I don't see that I'm kind of falling off a little bit, and then all of a sudden, in this area, this has happened, this area, nothing major. And then there's a reaction, and why is it so? What's going on?
It's the more awake you come, and the more you are living as that peace, that silence, the more you just get used to feeling wonderful all the time, like really wonderful. And so when you're feeling really wonderful most of the time, you don't notice straight away when some part of you starts to get a little bit irritated or a little bit annoyed or something like that. And even if you do notice, there is very little impetus or drive to do anything about it left. Because the one that would do something to change that is disappearing fast.
Yeah, that's all it was.
And there might even be moments of, I know I'm supposed to look at something here, but I can't really remember what I'm supposed to do now when something comes up. And so for all these reasons, it kind of builds up. But if you are the more aware of what you really are and more you're living as that, the faster your energy is flowing through the body. You are that stillness, but the faster the energy, the dynamic energy is moving. You call that Chi or life force or whatever, Kundalini. It's moving faster and faster, and you can feel that because things show up quicker. Things happen quicker, positively or negatively.
Yeah, definitely.
So if your negative emotion or the trigger or whatever it is that pops up is a boulder standing in that river, that fast-flowing river of energy, it's going to take less and less to create a mass disturbance into it, the faster this is flowing. Just the smallest little I thought in the end is going to, it sounds like, oh my God, I'm going to have to police all my thoughts now, but not really, because you just notice there's something here I'm believing. And it blows up very quickly, very big. But the moment you go, oh, not true. You don't have to do that massive long tunnel of self-inquiry anymore. You just look, oh yeah, I'm just obviously not true. And then it's gone instantaneously.
I kind of felt that I did that, but I don't think
Did what exactly? Sorry.
Looked at it.
Right.
Neither was, well, I had a bit of a
That it wasn't true.
issue on my shoulder, and no, that means burden, and so I kind of looked at it and knew it wasn't true, but I think it was something seeing that as not true, whereas I think that is what I'm saying.
No.
Oh God. I feel like I did look at it, obviously not fully enough because it just got bigger and bigger, and that I knew that there wasn't anything I needed to do, not in a I'm there way, because it's always forever opening and ever deepening, and often I think, oh, this is to show me deeper, but it was just missed. It was like it came at me, and then all of a sudden there's a suffering going on, not a huge one, but
So what does that mean?
that I needed to look at it.
So could that seems to be the theme tonight. Just accept that there's some tiny place where it's still there's something snagging on you.
Yeah.
On your parachute, so to speak. Yeah. On your hot air balloon.
Yeah, it was just so subtle. And then
what it is we all used to live like that constantly. We've forgotten how miserable we used to feel on a regular basis. Because we got so used to feeling really, really good that when even the slightest negative emotion comes up, it's intolerable. Right? I just, that's a bit yucky.
Yeah, so I suppose really the reaction wasn't a big issue. The reaction was big because it felt so alien now.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And I found after it had been a long time since I'd felt a negative emotion, the first time one came up, there was actually a rejection of it.
I would say that's exactly
ironically,
what happened.
After accepting everything completely, as I was speaking about earlier, and all that stuff began to leave. First time I felt something negative, it was the smallest little, I think it was like irritation or something, like tiniest little, somebody said something,
It was.
And there was a pushing away of that because I hadn't felt it in a long time. I had to look at that, that's just that little tendency had crept back in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like life gives us something just to give us a little nudge, just to check that we're still open.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That helps a lot, actually.
There'll be less and less of those that come up, and they'll be almost instantaneously seen. Mind will say, and you go, not true.
Yeah, that's been going on quite a bit. That for a little while, I don't know how long, but that's been going on. And I think I kind of thought I'd done that, but obviously there was still some reality.
There it is, right there. Is the subtle conclusion was reached that I've come out of the tunnel. Yeah. You might have come out of the tunnel, but if you've reached that conclusion, even subtly inside, then something will have to come and say, "Oh, you're believing something again about yourself."
Yeah. So subtle, isn't it?
If you learn to stay open just because you love how it feels to be open. If this goes on for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
great, because it gives me more opening.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd rather not, and you do come to the end of it, but
Yeah.
you don't realise you've come to the end of it.
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
Sounds
that's
contradictory, but
yeah, I try not to. Well, I don't feel like I've come to the end because I recognise that there's always a deep ceiling, always, and you know, life is expanding massively, and because of the time of year, you can kind of look back, can't you? And you know, there's huge difference. So maybe I was kind of like homing in on all of that.
keep looking until every area of your life is expanding effortlessly.
Mm.
It's getting better effortlessly. You're not having to put any attention on any of it anymore.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to take your foot off the gas.
Yeah,
there.
on the whole, it was.
We tend to stop right where it turns to positive, you know, where things start to go right. We'll take that right and done.
Yeah, yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head because everything was expanding and still is, but there was still something happening, and yeah.
The natural state, how our life as a human being is from the natural state, is that everything is always getting better all the time. Out here, in here, how I feel in here, what's showing up for me in the outside world. That's just how it's supposed to be when we're not believing thoughts.
So if you're feeling that niggle, then there's something to recognise, isn't there?
Yeah, there's just probably one little tiny area where you still just have to pay a little attention for a little while.
And then if you don't, there's another one, and all of a sudden it's like,
because you're seeing it's not any particular thought I'm believing now. It's the fact that I think I can believe thoughts. That I'm a thinker. Oh, God. When you first start this process, you could believe stop it. You could believe a random thought, and that would be the one that troubles you. You could get away with all the other ones you believe in. But at the end of the process, right at the end of that tunnel, is any thought at all. To believe that any thought has ever touched me ever. So if you suddenly go back to picking up one thought, it's like you've picked them up, all of them, in that moment. You know? It's an all or nothing deal.
Them all around like that,
And then, but you just, that was interesting. Let me just stop that now.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Very good. Still not sure what the question was, but it's all good. Okay, we shall leave it there for tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.